Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Shadowhand. So we are going, I guess, to try to beat chapter 22 on very hard the first time. And finish this up. With any luck, maybe we can pull this off. Otherwise, we'll beat it on normal mode and get to the end of the story and see if maybe that unlocks something. Otherwise, I guess we might very well just be done with this game. Like, it does not really feel like it would be worth your effort, for instance, to beat the final chapter on chapter 22 on normal, and then have to go back and replay all of chapter 7 through 9. Well, no, chapters 17 through 20 and everything before chapter 15 on normal, just to get a normal achievement, knowing that there's still a very hard achievement. Counter wise, it may not really be worth it to try and play chapter 21, and I believe there was another chapter that we actually didn't beat on very hard. As far as getting the chapter goals done. Story-wise, I imagine we're not going to have much of a resolution here. I don't think there's going to be any major twist. If anything, maybe this is just going to be an epilogue episode where there's actually very little challenge. It would be interesting, I suppose, if we clicked on this and there was only like 4 subchapters instead of 8. That would be a little disappointing considering we've had 8 subchapters since chapter 5. But yeah, I just don't think, when looking at what is available for purchase, which would require grinding to get some of these weapons, that there really is a weapon that changes too much. Unless counterattack, 30% chance to counterattack with the silver sword plus 5 somehow would change things, or just pierce over time has been significantly improved. It doesn't seem like we're ever going to get to a point where there's 20 base damage or higher for Shadowhand, even though we've seen enemies with this. Our outfit is completely ridiculous as far as what we're wearing, and trying to wear the things that are the best possible helpful items, which implies to me that we will probably try and play a little dress up and see if we can get the character to actually look like Shadowhand on the main screen, but I don't think we're going to quite get to that. And then gear, while we have a ridiculous amount of gear here, the fact that you can't just pull it up and use it is a problem. It would be a completely different game if I could, instead of having to equip 3 things, could just constantly use the entirety of my resources in a challenge. And then active abilities, it's highly unlikely we'll get any more of these active abilities. You could try the branding iron, for instance, and grind through the game to get a whole bunch of special cards for one of the subchapters, but pretty much only one of the subchapters, because you can't take on subchapter 8 separately from the first 7 subchapters in any actual complete chapter. So nothing really is going to help you that much. These passive abilities don't really help you that much. If anything, I could easily see that these were kind of random images that they could license easily. Nothing here specifically screams that it has to be from Shadowhand. In fact, some of this screams that it easily could have been in Regency Solitaire. Which, yeah, I imagine the outfit stuff is fairly new compared to Regency Solitaire. I imagine the weapons are new. I imagine most of the items here are new. But I wouldn't be surprised if Regency Solitaire had like a teapot. Character-wise, we're at level 21. It doesn't feel like we're going to level up more than one more time, unless we can grind again. and grinding to have more joker and spare cards or more luck is about all we can hope for. So this is Holloway, in which Shadowhand faces justice and order is restored. See, the way that's phrased, it almost seems like Shadowhand might actually be caught and executed, and that would be an interesting anti-happy ending, bad ending for the game. If you, at the end of the story, Lady Cornelia gets stoned and gaol and hung, and so does the pirate, and so does Rich Turnpike, and this just becomes the tragedy of how the magistrate managed to steal not just a significant portion of Darkmoor Estate, but all of Darkmoor Estate. That wouldn't be a very satisfactory ending, certainly for most people, and we've worked fairly hard, and we, I think, deserve a good ending. Plus, the story is too simplistic to set down the foundation to justify a bad ending like that. I have a hard question, really, as far as whether there will be any twists at all. So we have like an owl background here and some trees. Magistrate is talking, which theoretically Shadowhand wouldn't be able to see this story, but I'm not going to complain about that. And you can tell they didn't animate but one version of the captain here, and that he has a sword and hook still in his hand. It's a shame to end our working relationship, Captain, but you've become too troublesome, and the truth is that you can be replaced. You won't get away with this, you great leech. Let's let the captain go. And this is just really ridiculous. And they've just flipped the image, but that's fine. Most visual novel story depictions do that. Another wanted criminal. It's my lucky day. Soldiers, capture Shadowhand and claim your reward. It'd be very weird to play the game from the right side perspective after playing the entirety of the game from the left side perspective. So here we can see our goals on very hard is get 24 stars, so 3-star minimum. I think very quickly we're going to find that the number of turns to get 3 stars for even this first guy is going to be incredibly low. Achieve an overkill of 30 and defeat the chapter boss. And we see there are 8 sub-chapters here. We have a stealth of 30, we have resistance to pierce, a defense of 11, a health of 121. He has an accuracy essence and a defense remedy. And then he has his standard bayonet plus 10 that does 17 damage. And the brown best musket shoots for 20 base damage and 30% chance to pierce. Yeah. And you would think like this ancient sword would be the ultimate item. And it kinda is, but it's still not that helpful.
Duel.
How many do we have to do? We have 18 turns to take out this guy. And we can't play the spare, can't play the spare, can't do this. This has an attack. Yeah, this would do a defense. We can't really use clarity every single time, so we'll start with this stun. And then do a 2-1 here. To replace that, we could do a 1 here that does nothing. It doesn't have any health, so that helps us somewhat. Do I do 2-3 here? 2, 3, 2, 1, 0. And then the question would be, do you do this 9 or do you do this 1? I think you do this 1. Nope. That didn't do anything for us. Which pretty much means this wouldn't do anything for us either. 0. Now we can take a 9 here. Then this spare to do 2, 3. And then I could do a spare and a 9 and 0. Or I could just leave it. It's like you're not gonna do a one-hit kill here. So we'll just smack him. And then can't shuffle. Can't play. So we'll just shoot and reduce his damage. 6, 5, 6, 5, 4. Shuffle. 3, 4. 24 damage. 18 turns, we played 6. It seems like we're gonna win this one, which is nice, but don't have a massive amount of confidence that I'm gonna be able to win on very hard against everybody. That seems a little unlikely to happen. Just wait till turns run out on his boosts. 9, 0. Got so many 1s, but it still makes more sense to do this 9. And do we attack now or do we attack with this? I think we'll attack with this. And see, if I had another sword, another dagger to throw, I would just throw it right now and win. Which gets back to the idea, if you could just, even if it took a turn to change your equipment and go back into your menu, it probably still would be worth that effort to do that. Worth taking the extra turn. Alright, so now his defense is back down to being low. 4, 3. And then we can use a spare because we'll get 2 spares anyways. Six. Well, neither one of those really mattered. What that didn't get us was an overkill of 30, but it does move us forward. Getting a Joker card and getting a defense remedy and getting some gold. We kind of don't care too much about gold. It is very possible this is just going to be all duels. So that could be a hassle. This guy's going to have a ton of health. So is there something I could do specifically to make this guy die? See, ideally what we would want is to make him bleed. So we'll take that. And we'll take that. And we've just created this whole collection of items in the hopes that that would help us. But it kind of hasn't. Could play a Joker, but now would not really be the time to play a Joker. and see how many turns do we need on this. 24 turns. That's pretty long amount of time. Come on, play this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Zero or 2. No, you go 0, then you go 9, then you go 8. We don't want this guy to end up with extra health, so we'll have to be careful about that too. Yeah, if we take this 2, it reveals more, giving us more of an option. If I played the 7, I could get a 6, 5, 4. Okay. Play this 7, play this 6, unlock this 5. We could go 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Now 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, 1, 2. Nothing more. I could play a joker, but I almost want to leave this for an overkill. Joker could get me a 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Yeah, that really is good enough to justify this. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 5. Can we play anything else? No, but we can shuffle. Then we can go 4, 3, 2, and 1. Got it. Change this one to maybe a 2. Nope, 0. 1, still not too bad. And smack it. And we'll weaken him. His defense is high, to say the least, at 13. Like, not incredibly high to the point where you can't do any damage, but high enough certainly to undo almost all of the damage we've done up until this point. So we probably, yeah, we can't play anything. We don't get extra spare cards when there's a reshuffle. Poisoning now. Let's see, 9, 0. 1, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Take this 5 or this 5, I don't think it really matters. 5. Got to unlock these. 24 turns, we've taken 9. It kind of sucks because we're in the mushy middle here where we may very well get 3 stars for the first 4 or 5 subchapters, and at that point we are just then pot committed, to use a poker term, where we would pretty much have to just struggle and play the remaining 4 subchapters to completion. Play this 8. this 7, this 8, then this 9, this 0, this 1, this 0, this 9. Shuffle. Hopefully I didn't have any extra options. This 8. Then this 9. Then this 8. Then this 9. Take this 8. Then this 9. Then this 8. Didn't get quite as far as I would like to have gone, but whatever. We need a massive overkill too, so I need to pay attention to that. Also, I need to not end up with the next duel having 3 health elixirs or health increasing items, because that is too many. 2, 3. Might as well play this 4. Five, 6, 7, 6. Yeah, I guess we'll attack here. Now it's just gonna be, can we find a 5 or a 3? I have plenty of health. I kind of have plenty of turns. Now I just need a huge lucky run. 9. So, weaken the guy. He's not been a very good player, or he's just gotten very unlucky. There's kind of nothing to do. Okay, here we go. Chance of victory here. But if we're gonna get 30 overkill, we basically need to get... that's what we needed, right? Overkill 30. So we basically need 43 minimum damage plus another 23. That just seems highly unlikely that that's gonna play that way. Two. Yeah, I think we charge this up. I think we attack here. That gets him lower. In fact, I may even have enough where I can stun and lower his defense in his next turn. And then this has to be the victory. Go. That didn't work. 26. We've lost. Just like that. Without even really paying attention to it, we've lost. We'll get 2 stars. The hard goal. The very hard goal was to get 3 stars for everything. Which, once again, this is pointing to the lack of really balance as far as the very hard mode. It does not feel like this was play tested anywhere near enough, and that clearly these deals are very random, which almost feels like it should be a new game plus mode that you can't play by default. Or, you know what, it's just the goals. The goals should be the same for relaxed and normal and very hard, instead of the goals going up. Since you don't really need to do the goals on relaxed at all, and you don't really need to do the goals on normal at all, there's no reason to increase them on top of that. This definitely feels like the type of experience where the game developer, in the process of developing Shadowhand, probably really, really loves solitaire or is just incredibly numb to what an average gamer wants, or an average gamer would desire in the difficulty of solitaire. I don't think I've ever met anybody who really likes hard solitaire games. If anything, they tend to like them to be fairly easy. And I will say, it's been a couple of days since I last recorded it, so recorded an episode of Shadowhand and played it. So I'm not coming to this final episode as frustrated as I normally would be. I'd be a lot more frustrated had I already spent like 9 hours the day before playing this game, struggling to try and get victories. So I'm giving it as good of a chance as it possibly could get from me, and it's still rubbing me the wrong way with this difficulty. And of course, I have to always say, it's my own darn fault. If I had simply oops. Yeah. If I had simply only played on normal or relaxed to start with, it would be a very different situation. Alright, well, let's skip this story and let's just get out of this. It seems like fairly obviously we're going to duel. You can continue where you left off. Normal is goals are optional, duels are mandatory, enemies are normal, gold is normal. That should have been the most difficult version, and in my opinion, normal and relaxed should have been the only two modes unlocked by default without a major pop-up secondary warning. Like, you could have very hard be unlocked at the default, and that's fine, but there needed to be a pop-up box that every time you clicked on it, it says, look, this is nearly impossible. You really don't want to do this. This isn't just making goals mandatory and harder, which honestly, there should be a hard mode that is goals are mandatory, but they're not harder, and enemies are normal, or 10% tougher, or 10% smart or smarter. They've really combined hard and very hard to have only a very hard mode, and then 10% less gold. Like, all of this works so much against you. It's not reasonable that you would actually accomplish it. Alright, so we'll skip this first story since we've already seen it, and then we're back to this duel. Much more reasonable, collect 20 stars, achieve an overkill of 20, eat much more reasonable, and defeat the chapter boss. That is way more reasonable, and I know I'm just using the same word again. Also, we got spare cards, and I wonder if normal mode just increases the amount of spare cards you get, and that would certainly change things also. 0, 1, 2. Let's not take that 2. Let's take that 2. Then 1. Would the 0 cover anything? No. And it's not just that they're tougher and smarter. It definitely feels like there is more to it than just 10% toughness. Because I definitely do not struggle with this game at all when playing on normal. But on top of that, I feel like even on normal mode, these deals should be programmed. Every single card that comes out of the stock should be a card that is playable, and every single card that is face down or face up should be in a playable way. To the point where I would go as far as saying I would like to see at least a third of all the puzzles that would have been curated to be winnable on the first turn. If not winnable solely by the stock cards and the face-up cards, winnable if you have at least 1 joker or 3 spare cards. And maybe it takes a much bigger algorithm to know what spare cards you would need, but even at that, I think that's how I would want the game to be. I would like these to be much closer to a Hearthstone puzzle expansion, where you have to win in 1 turn, or at least some of the decks, some of the deals to be that way. More reasonably, I imagine a middle ground that more average players would want to see is that by the time if you start with a stock of 30 cards, by the time you're at 15, you should be able to win. And that there should be at least 3 or 4 combos, but not 1 long combo that is a path towards victory. Alright, well, we'll use the spare cards since you start with 2 of those anyways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 5, 6. Spare 8, 9. 0. And then shuffle. And then 9, 0. Can't do anything more. I could do 13 at the moment if there's nothing else to do. See, this would pierce and win. And I kind of don't want that, but we'd just move the story forward. If we can get the overkill on the first subchapter, that eliminates the need to focus on that for the rest of the subchapters, which I'd appreciate that. There is, I think, a decent argument that when you end your turn, maybe it shouldn't turn a card over solely. Maybe it should say it turns over a new card for the next player, but they could play on the previous card also. That way you could really punish bad players who are just missing moves. And the easiest way to accomplish that would be to take this end the turn button and put it somewhere closer to here instead of here, and just have it be a bar that fills in this little artistry, and then have this card face up always. And then you could click on either, or you could put the end of turn button somewhere over here. C4, not really helping. You know what? We'll just do that. You resisted it. Okay, big combo now. 7, 8, 9, 8, 9. 0 uncovers this card, or this 8 uncovers this card. 0, 1. Alright. It should be 30, so it's not quite enough. But this will also win for us, so what can we do? That's an overkill of 11. Just move forward. And the amount of loot you get is actually higher, not less. The other loot items you're getting are kind of just random.
Duel.
Okay. So we'll start with poison. Then we'll go 9, 8, 9, and I guess we can't do anything more. We could play a 7, we could play a Joker, but nothing really connects, so we'll just bleed him. Apparently you can't be poisoned and bled at the same time. Or one of... Oh no, leeches cure poisoning, don't they? Oh. Like, the one time that actually happens. Yeah. Which... I guess that highlights why you wouldn't want to use poison before leeches. Should have done the opposite. This 3's not gonna help us much. Being stunned. 0, 1. Get that. 2. Take this 3. And then this 4. This 5. Take this 7, 8. If we take the 7, we would reveal that. Otherwise, we're taking a 9 and a 0 and a 1, which I think is better. And then do we want Joker here to do 7 and 6? 7, 8. Okay. Get one of these. Do a 9, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Shuffle. Yeah, we'd almost have to get a one-hit kill though, otherwise he's just going to use his health. Unless we can counter that somehow. $70 damage minus his defense gets it, reduces it to 46 damage. It's a lot of defense, even on normal. It's a lot of defense. Now he's gonna start bringing his health back up. You could potentially have had the health regain health over the course of 2 or 3 turns. Not really necessary, but it could give the opponent or the player character a chance to not have all of their hard work undone immediately in one turn. If it was something a little bit more complicated, like replenish 5% of your health for the next 3 turns, for a total of 15%, or replenish even 10% of your health over the next 3 turns, that'd probably be easier math. Of course, that is still fairly complicated math to have to do, but this is solitaire, and solitaire and math do kind of go hand in hand, so I don't think I can really complain too much there. Right, so we are now looking for big combos. Big combos, big combos. Zero, 9. Yeah, unless we have the final guy in like subchapter 8 has no defense at all, and you fight the magistrate, and it is just a joke where you can do a massive combo and win in one turn and do a massive amount of overkill, which would be nice. Even in that scenario, though, you still would have to get 3 stars for every previous subchapter. Even on normal mode, you pretty much have to get 3 stars for almost every subchapter. You just have a little bit of wiggle room. And that is, like, we really haven't even been keeping an eye on how many turns this has been. It's been 12. It is still very possible that even here we end up struggling a lot more to try and get 3 stars, and I'm not going to spend a lot of effort on that, really. 6, 5, 4. I think you go that route. 5, 4, 5, 6, 5. Yeah, it's not even worth shuffling at the moment. Lowers defenses in the turn. Still would need to do kind of a massive amount of damage. 7. Okay, we'll shuffle and hope this works. 7, 8. Yeah, it didn't really do enough or anything. And yeah, I don't think that would... This would be useful at the moment. Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5. You can definitely tell I'm getting a lot of lucky cards too, which is drastically helping me way more than it probably even seems like it is. 3, 4, 5, 6. Just a ton of 2s. 7876 or 789. Nine, 0, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 6. Seven. Yeah, and let's just attack. One, two, 1, 2. Take that joker. Get his defense down. 7-8 or 7-6. We'll take the 7-6. In the turn. Take that. I don't think this wins for us. It does right on the nose. But it got us 3 stars too, so let's just move forward. So this should be a story we haven't seen. You cannot get away with this. I've informed the excise men that you and Captain Dread are smuggling together. You fiend, you and Peregrine Flesh masterminded this operation. How can you lay the blame on me? Nonsense, you were both caught red-handed in a cavern stuffed with contraband. Face facts, Shadowhand. You had this coming. Neither you nor the captain can escape death or taxes. Seize the tax dodger men for king and country. So now we have the revenue officer. I imagine we'll fight 2 or 3 of these revenue officers. And I suspect we won't see too many other characters of note returning. We need to make sure to come over here and rid ourselves of the health upgrades, because we don't want to use the health upgrades at the moment. But we're not paying real attention as far as what you have to throw against them. Silver sword +5. Sea service pistol +7. Shoot for 16 base damage, 25% chance to pierce damage. And then increases chance to pierce. Wig powder. And strong tea.
Duel.
Okay. And then I guess you play this 1. And then you play this 8. And then I guess you have to, or you play this 0. Then you play this 1. And then you play this. I guess the question is, where is the explosive item? It's got to be under either here, or this card. This looks like this might be key. This looks like this might be key. So I'm thinking there's an explosive barrel here and a torch under this, and then maybe a torch under this one too. And I guess until you know that, oh, the torch is over here. Interesting. Yeah, until you figured that out, however, you stood 0 chance of playing this. And while this gunpowder barrel feels like it's going to explode and blow up a bunch of cards, it really is at most going to get 5 cards removed, because it's only the top cards that get hit. 8, 7. We could get closer. There's actually, I suppose, no way to get this item without blowing up the gunpowder barrel. See, that gives him a bomb, which I suspect he might just use the bomb fairly quickly. So then you go 8. And then we can go 9, 8. Then we can go back to 9. And this is where it's going to get questionable because we could go 5, 4, 5, 4 with the Joker, and that's probably worth it. 5, 4, 5, 4, 3. And we can go 9. And then 0, 1, and then 0, and then 9. Then we could go 0 here or 0 here. I kind of want to do this and then do this. There we go. Then play that and that. Chance of bleeding. Why do I have that equipped? Oh, because I just picked it up. Alright. 46 damage and then counter for 7. This guy needs to be done in 14 turns. We've got 5. We got very lucky with that combo. So do we want to throw Marsh Gas and weaken him? I think we do. How long will that last? 7 damage per turn for the next 2 turns. The poison effect does. Okay. Can we do a massive amount of damage in this combo? Probably not. Yeah, we can just play that 1 card and that's it. So now's a good time to get his health down a little bit more. Now we just need a really lucky run. Otherwise, we're going to mess up and end up not getting the victory. 8. 8 does nothing for us. Whatever. Take the victory, move forward. If we don't get the goals done, we don't get the goals done. That gives us the Swordsman's Tipple, 100 gold. We really probably aren't going to have enough gold to even buy more than 2 new items. And 2 new weapons aren't going to change anything unless it, by beating this final chapter, it unlocks some kind of ultimate weapons that just get massive increases in the amount of damage they do. There we go. We'll swing that out for that. And we'll start playing that. This is a melee weapon, right?
Duel.
He's going to meanwhile try and poison us, which won't work, snuff bomb us, which won't work, and we don't have any soap anyways. This one does fire damage. This one does base 14 and 40% chance to pierce, also 30% chance to counterattack, which if this weapon did more damage, that would be a really nice weapon to have. Right, so 9, and then 8, and then that, and then 7, and then 8, and then 9. Meanwhile, we'll do this, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 shows me nothing versus this, which I think is a 9, 4, 5, 4, oh, it was an 8. If I played a 5, I could get this 6, and that's it. So I think that's about as good as we're gonna get. Does this guy have any health increasers? I don't think he does. So if we can get his health down fairly quickly, we can not have to really contend with that. Ideally, you'd want to just play this now, play this now, and play this now. Let's just do that, and maybe we won't end up using this. Yeah. 5, 4, 3, 2, 3, 2. Now I could go 5, 6, 7. Now we have 2 5s. Let's see if we can turn this to an 8. 6. 7, I guess. Yeah, he's basically got nothing here. Take this 3 because that opens that. I'll take this 4, then this 3, so it opens that. Now you are forced to play this 5. And since we can't, we will throw a knife. I imagine knives are less useful. 4. Yeah, this is like the worst situation you could possibly be in, so yeah. My boost here is going to run out before I can even use it. I am fairly low in health myself. Yeah, that whole boost to recharging of the melee weapons completely wasted. Alright, 6, 7, 8. No, you probably want to go 6, 5, then 6, then 5. Then 4 here, and then 3, and then 2, then 1. Actually, I should have taken this 2, but whatever. Can I play anything else? No, but we can shuffle. 2 gets you this 3. Nothing else. Which, yeah. Again, not really getting that overkill bonus of 20 and not really getting the best outcome as far as trying to get 20 stars, but I don't think it's worth the effort and worth the time. We're already an hour into this and we're only really halfway through. So this is going to be like a 2-hour final chapter, even though I have spent kind of an extra amount of time trying to avoid that very scenario from happening. And I put extra effort into not failing miserably by playing on very hard and then having to play the whole game a second time. Alright. We could play this. Probably worth it. What else he got? The Old English blunderbuss, base for 19, 25% chance to stun, and reduce enemy by 25%. Then piercing shot, 25%, 15% base charge, 75% chance to pierce. Clarity, fewer cards for combo. Smoke bomb, and food. Take this 6, burn these thorns, which, yeah, 6, 7, 6, 5, 6. This is one of these deals because all of the cards are face up. It's actually more difficult for me to play because now I'm just seeing a whole bunch of numbers that my eyes have trouble ignoring. I often explain it as I can't see the trees for the forest, so I have to really focus to realize that this 3, this 1, this 3 here is face up, and this 2 is face up, and this 9 is face up, and then the rest of these are all actually under other cards. And it would be very helpful if they were dimmed out a little bit. Just even a 10% reduction in opacity would drastically make it easier for me to tell the difference. Although maybe something even as high as a 50% reduction in opacity could be called for. Okay. So the combos now start at 3. He resisted the stun powder. Actually, I had cards I could have played too. That was stupid. Yep. It does create the scenario where you do kind of want to hit the person back if they throw something at you that feels like more of a affront than them making combos and just attacking normally. So, yeah. I have noticed that there have been at least 3 or 4 times where I have immediately gone to use an item after the opponent used an item, when very possibly there were better moves to be made. Let's see. 0, 1. I could play this. It could get me here. And then I would kind of need a lucky. Let's see if we get a lucky. 9. There. 9. We would need to change this to an 8. Didn't change it to an 8. And we don't have enough duels to really justify not using items at this point. How many turns would this have been? 23. We've done 8. I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of struggle still to get 23. There, he refills his health. Kind of predictably. We'll go ahead and refill our health since we've got nothing better to do. Now he has that item, which we kind of didn't want him to do that. There, have that item. Okay, new deal. 7, 6, 5, 6. Burns this card, which arguably burning this card only kind of unveils these lower cards. So you could have played roughly 7 cards on each side anyways, if that was absolutely necessary. Shuffle. When we shuffle, does that move the spare cards? Yes, it does. Interesting. Good to know. 4, 3. 2. I don't feel like I'm gonna lose here, but I don't feel like I'm gonna win with straight A's either. We are now at 14 turns, so we'd have 9 remaining turns to get this done with 3 stars. Playing that spare card wouldn't help us. One, two, 1, 2, 3, 2. And then I could use this spare for this 5, but it's not really necessary. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna get the health down that fast. And this might be the way the final battles go, the 3 remaining duels, is that we just run into more and more resistant characters. And that drags out each duel. Okay. 6, 5, 4. Take the spare. Can't do anything else. A little slow as weapon charging. Should we have used that item in this battle? Probably not on retrospect. 22. So either this turn or the next. 7. Then I could go 4, 3, 4, 4, 3, 4, 4, 3, 4, or 2, 2, 1, 2. I could do a 0 now. That would get this 9 and show a 5 and a 9. Or we could shuffle. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, shuffle. Then at 6. I could do a 0, 9, 8. Or we could do a 0. Yeah, I guess you do 0, 9, 8 here. And you go 2, 1, 0 here. And then at this point it's not really worth doing a joker at all. Yeah, because I have the Lucky's Rabbit's Foot and it gives you 2 spare cards, the only reason you wouldn't use all the spare cards at the end of each subchapter would be if you had at least 3 spare cards. And I think the odds of that happening are kind of low. 7, 6. At this point, I guess you do this. 0, 9, 8, 0, Joker 0, then 9, then another 0, then another 9, then another 9. Try and weaken him. 5, 6. That leaves him incredibly low, so if we can just get a nice combo, we could get that overkill of 20, which is all it's asking, is an overkill of 20. 5 does nothing, 3 does nothing. Yeah, in the turn here. We've got plenty of health. We've missed the turn for 3 stars about 10 turns ago, though. And it's very easy to lose focus on that and realize that that's what's happened. So, if you could individually get each of these goals done, instead of having to do all 3 of them at the same time, that would help fairly significantly. But there's zero indication that that is the case, or that, and I don't know how that would really work. Okay. Big combos. Big combos. And yeah, I'm about to lose here. Wow. The game really does not give you an opportunity to chase specific goals. You just have to be lucky in the random draws of the deck. Yep. Yeah, I was about to lose there. I still didn't get the overkill. Oddly, though, that's the chapter boss. So now we have something very weird here. Because that tells me now, if I play this in very hard mode, the next 3 subchapters are going to be like epilogue cakewalk chapters. Almost certainly. They're going to just be maybe not even duels. I would lean to think they aren't. Gold-wise, we have 1,455 gold, which is potentially going to get you 2 or 3 more items of the 4 to 6 more items that haven't been purchased, but none of those items are going to be useful unless they unlock some new items or just give us new items for loot. Ideally, you would get new items from loot, and that is like a lot of gold at 200. Is that all you've got? Don't underestimate me, villain. The gentry know how to band together to root out base and violent criminals like you. Lord and Lady Spire are determined to bring you to justice for robbery and assault. You cannot deny your guilt. Yes, they are willingly involved in your smuggling scheme, funded with stolen money. Who are you exactly to judge me? Everyone connected to you is rotten to the core. More fool you. Instead of a proper trial, we can do this the hard way. Release the hound. Yeah, that really makes no sense why that was considered the boss character when this is a duel again. Let's see. We could change our coat and try and deflect the hound if we wanted to, but I don't even think there really is a reason for that. Let's equip some more items. Poison. Smoke bomb. We'll take smoke bomb. We'll take a health. We'll even take a bigger health. And we'll take one of those. And we'll just leave it at that. Yeah. We have like 2,000 gold right now, which very possibly won't be used at all.
Duel.
And I really just don't get it. I don't get why you would give me another duel at this point, unless there's going to be some weird twist where this guy just runs away through it in less than 19 turns, which we've never seen any of the characters have any indication that they would run away in fear or anything like that. So if that was going to be part of the gameplay, it would have had to have been introduced, I think, earlier, much earlier in the game. Or okay, well then we go 5, and then we go 6, and then we go 7, and then we can take this 8, we can take this 6, which I guess we'll take that 6. We'll go ahead and shuffle. Then 7, and another 6. And then let's just change to a 5. 4, 5. We could do Joker 1, 2, 3. Actually, let's take this 2 and take this Joker back. Yeah. This isn't charged yet. Seems like you won't get to these cards until you've almost completely cleared the field. Does he have a health refill? Yeah, a strong T. Stun the guy. And do we drink this now? We might as well. 0 to 9. Which 0 do we want? Probably this 0. And attack. Yeah, this may really be a scenario where he just never gets enough charge to fight you. Or maybe I'm just having a really lucky time at the moment. Do we want to just attack? Or do we want to slow his combos? So he got a grog bomb. He can throw a grog bomb at me for all I care. Then he refills his health, and we are down to where we needed to be as far as his items. These are very played out, certainly. Like, the strategy to beat every single one of these duels is the same. You just beat on them until they use all their health refill items. They will almost certainly use every other item to very little effect, so little that you don't even really need to mention it. And then once they've probably used all their items, you will still be beating on them and trying to defeat their extremely high health. And sure, if I go back and play chapter 2 or chapter 3, I'll be incredibly overpowered and maybe win in one-hit kills, but trying to ever become overpowered enough to beat chapter 22's duels in one turn, or even in the 3-star turn requirements, is not a guarantee. Like, I think we're gonna maybe make it to level 22, and then that'll be the maximum level we ever are capable of reaching. Well, take the poultice, even though it's pretty much useless to us. Yeah, this dog is not getting charged enough to really fight me. So now if we just have a different deal, maybe things will be way less lucky or more lucky. So far it seems like it's about the same as it was before. So yeah, that was like the first time I think the dog is attacked in 19 turns, and it gives me a bleeding effect, which I can just kind of immediately undo. Because we'll play that one card and then we'll use the poultice, and then let's see, 9, 8, take the spare, 7, 8. Let's see. If I was to use a spare here, I could get this 8 out of the way. I guess you do this. And then you do this. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. And then I could shuffle or play a card right now. Let's shuffle. Three, 2. See if we can change this to something more useful. No. Do we want to play a joker now that goes 9, 8, 9, 0? That's probably not terrible. 9, 8, 9, 0. 2. Play that, I guess. See, I don't even know what this card is, so doing this is a risk. It's a risk, however. I guess that paid off. So we have now another poultice. Not that it really matters because 26 chapters turns or 36 turns, I can't really read it. I think it says 26. There's been exactly one full charge of the dog, which definitely makes it kind of obvious why they considered the middle subchapter, subchapter 5, to be the final chapter. I still feel like this is going to be fairly difficult to get an overkill of even 20, though. Because I'm going to have to get just an incredibly lucky kind of events. There's too many locked cards. Let's see. Yeah, we're just going back everywhere. 6. Do we go with 5, 4, or do we go 7? We can't get to this 8 yet, so I think you go 5 and 4. Do we want to play a Joker? 0. That really doesn't do anything for us. 0, 1, 0, 1. And Joker 7, 8, 9. Shuffle. 8, 9. We could use a spare. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Get this 4, I guess, uncovered. 5. Get those 4 uncovered, I guess. 51 damage, is that enough for a 20 overkill? No, that's an overkill of 12. Even on normal mode, the chance of getting an overkill of 12 seems to be, of 20 seems to be pretty difficult. Plus, we're not getting the stars at the same time when we're trying to accomplish that. And they can give me as much gold and loot as they want. If I can't get the goals done, then I can't get the goals done. I'd say Lady Spry in particular kind of suffers as a character. She's shown up 2 times previous, but she was with her brother, who really it looked like it was her husband, and the husband really should have just been cropped out of the image, and it should have just been Lady Spry herself. And the way she was depicted and did this duel is different than how she was depicted at the masquerade in the story mode, so she looks a little bit different, and it's kind of hard to tell the difference. Or more accurately, to know that they are the same person. She definitely feels like a character that could have been merged so that she was kind of a running gag character that you robbed multiple times throughout the story, and this would have been her seeking revenge, or she comes back every other chapter as a character and gets slightly stronger. She could easily have been the counter character to Shadowhand, in that she's seeing herself on the side of good, and she is constantly improving in the same way that Shadowhand is. Alright. 50% melee. Too few cards needed for a combo. That's what I'm gonna do. So we can get this overkill done. This actually looks like a pretty decent deal. Just all fanned out like this.
Duel.
Alright. Of course, once again, how many actual cards are face up and playable? This one's playable. 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 Then I could go 6, 7, or 6, 5. Or I could go 4, 3, 2. Or I could just do nothing. She has not a major amount of defense. She's gonna try and slow my weapon charging, it seems. 6, 7, 8. Then 4, 5, 6. Start with that one. Yeah, with her stun weapon, and it looks like she may have a different pistol here. 20 base damage, 20% chance to cause bleeding. Shoot for 20 base damage, also 30% chance to counterattack. This pistol, if we ended up with this, might potentially replace this, but I'm not sure it really would. Okay. 6, 5, 6. And I could go 4, 3, 2 on here or here. And then we can play this. Yeah, this doesn't quite feel easy enough for what it is. Since these feel like they're supposed to be epilogue duels in which you're just supposed to be really overpowered, it's not quite easy enough. But it's also not hard. So it really just feels like it's in the mushy middle of feeling like a regular duel that doesn't really make sense after fighting the taxman. There should be a lot more challenge. Alright. You could go 7, 6, 7. Let's go ahead and shuffle. That was probably a terrible opportunity to shuffle there. And I'm not sure if even one hit of this doesn't put you in the path to completely lose. Yeah, we'll just see. Like 51 damage here. Ah, that might be 20 overkill. Yeah, it is. So maybe Ladies probably always would have let you get an overkill of 20. But we failed anyways. Yeah, there's just too much to pay attention to. Like, we need 4 more stars. We can only get 3 more stars. You can't get 2 1-star battles. Yeah. And while we got a massive amount of gold, and it does clearly showed that you would want to play the final chapter over and over again to grind. It's not giving you Lady's prize weapon. Shadowhand, you may have beaten my soldiers, escaped the excisemen, and outsmarted the spies. But you're no match for my executioner. So, it seems like we're not even going to fight the magistrate at all. My axe is sharp and I'm ready, sir. Impossible. I thought he was dead. Wrong again, Shadowhand. You inflicted a mere flesh wound, a mistake you shall not live long enough to regret. See, the problem with this, though, is I'm fairly certain Shadowhand killed an actual soldier earlier than she fought the executioner, which it kind of highlights more the idea that it would be a nicer story to say she thought she was a murderer and it turns out she wasn't, but it kind of doesn't matter because you can certainly assume that at least some of the people she's fought otherwise have been mortally wounded and may have died of infection weeks later. This definitely would have been a time in which antibiotics did not exist, and a duel often, while it wouldn't lead to an immediate death sentence on the field, it would lead to a death sentence, and everyone knew that because you just die of infection several weeks later. So you would have to do a lot of better writing than what I've seen in this game to make Lady Cornelia be a kind of bad guy, but not really a bad guy. You also haven't really just written her as a total sociopath that enjoys killing and enjoys robbing people. So she is once, I keep using this phrase, but it's the right phrase to use. She's right in the mushy middle where it is just boring. And this reveal that the executioner is not dead doesn't mean anything to me because of the way the story has gone. Again, if you were going to make the executioner the actual bad guy instead of magistrate for the final subchapter, you should have had me fought him a lot more often. Like he should have been the true antagonist this whole time instead of the magistrate, and you could have easily merged the magistrate into the executioner and just had to fight the magistrate to escape gaol instead of the executioner. Say your prayers now, vagabond, you're finished. Yeah, it comes off like you're supposed to be afraid of the executioner. I really am not. Seems like he has a massive amount of resistance, and he deflects powders and animals at 100%. And he has a Executioner's Axe plus 12, which does base damage of 24 and 50% chance to cause bleeding. Attack bonus damage increasing it by 100. If we ended up with the Executioner's Axe, maybe then that would be the weapon we would need. This way. See if that one works. We'll replace that with that. And that. And it's been an hour and 40 minutes.
Duel.
So far. Totally deflected that. Oh, 50% chance to deflect thrown items. Which probably tells me I shouldn't have tried to throw that. Of course, you could also just reset now and cheese the options and the odds. Let's see. 7, 8, 9. 3, 2, 1. 1, 2. And I guess an anti-bleed poultice might be the better move as far as an item. Should we use the Joker now? I guess we should. Joker, 5, 6, 5, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4. Shuffle. I guess you go back to 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we can go 0, 1, 2, 3, 3, and then 2, 1, and then I guess 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. Next 4, 3, 2. We go 1, 0 or 3 here. And then 3 to change to 6 to a 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, 9, 8, 7. Do we go 7 or do we go 9, 0, 1? I think you go 9, 0, 1, 0, 1. We have plus 245 damage here, which is gonna do 103 damage. Is there something special about this deal in particular that made that possible? Or did we just get really, really lucky? Like, that's a massive amount of damage, and then it was just completely undone with the food. Yeah. Suffice it to say, I am not pleased with that outcome. That felt incredibly cheaty. We're still bleeding, but that's kind of the least of our problems. We'll take some items since we've got nothing better to do. What turn is this? Turn 8? How many turns would we have to get 3 stars? Yeah, 20. We need to keep an eye on that because there's a very good chance that even in the attempt to succeed here, even if we got an amazingly long combo, which we did, we still are not guaranteed a victory under the number of turn requirements. Play the 0. That. Neither one of these I think are fully charged. Nope. Right. And then we could go 4, 3, 2. Which gives me just enough charge to try this. 3. And then I guess that means we could take an extra turn. I don't even know if I want to take an extra turn. 0, 9, 0. We get a couple of cards removed. So we take this, and then this, and then that. "13 turns, 7 more turns playable." Did we even get the overkill? Yeah, we did, so we're not even looking for an overkill. Which, even though we had done like nearly over 100 damage, it wouldn't have been fatal 100 damage, so it wouldn't have been an overkill bonus anyways. And I just don't see a scenario where you either doing chapter 1 or doing chapter 22 or any of the chapters in the middle. I just don't see a scenario where the overkill bonus is something that you could really farm and gain a greater reward from. Let's see, 0, 1, 2, 1, I guess. 1, 2, 1. And then we could go back to 0, 1, 2, 3. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8. I could play a spare to get this 8 removed. Maybe that would expose 1 card, but it's probably not worth it. We can do this, however. 9 here is no duh. This would reveal 1 card and potentially reveal another card, whereas this... yeah, this is the one you'd want to play. So if we could get 8, 9, 0. Yeah, it doesn't help. Okay, 68 damage. Probably gonna win. Overkill of 25. So maybe you could have always gotten the overkill of 20. But that's not an overkill of 30, certainly, which is what they're asking for in the very hard version of this game. So in total, we got 20 of 21 stars required to actually have beat the goals, the chapter goals, but they're not required in normal mode. And we were able to get a record overkill, I guess, of 79 overall throughout the entirety of the game. And we got an overkill of 20, but not 30, I think, in any of these sub-chapters. Yeah, I was definitely thinking these last 4 or last 3 sub-chapters would be not even duels, in that they would just be specifically placed cards to give you kind of a reward. And that's not the case. I almost wonder if there is going to be some kind of epilogue chapter that's like that just hasn't unlocked yet. Loot wise, we get 500 gold, so clearly you would want to play on normal or relaxed the final chapter to get all the gold. But you play it maybe 2 or 3 times and you're gonna have all the gold you could ever need. Oops, you did not complete the goals for this chapter. Do you want to retry the chapter or continue to the next one? Let's just go to the next one. It's over, Your Honor. Time to take your punishment for years of disservice to the community. Please, I beg you mercy, Shadowhand. No, rotten gal. Wow. So that's just kind of the end of the magistrate in 3 words. Just, yeah, totally terrible writing here. Just not enough writing for the character who's supposed to be the main antagonist of the game. It's ridiculous that you just defeat him, not with a duel, but by just saying no rotten gal and assume that's where he goes. It does potentially leave an option for a sequel, but I just don't think there's enough here for a sequel. Honestly, I'm not sure there was enough here to even justify it being a spiritual successor to Regency Solitaire. And I understand how that you would be in a weird position if you do have moderate success with Regency Solitaire, that you would want to make a new Solitaire game, but just didn't feel ambitious enough. I feel that justice has finally been served. Thank you, Shadowhand. The evil man controlled me for so many years. Maybe now I can finally have a chance at happiness. Highway robbery is not what it used to be, Mr. Turnpike. Would you consider a change of career? I'll think on it. With toll booths and law enforcers popping up everywhere, you're right that the glory days of highwayman are probably over. Here is your lover's eye brooch. Which, that was a creepy eye brooch anyways. I think, and I should also give you back your mare. What's her name, by the way? Black Bess. She's a beauty, isn't it? Like, way too late in the story to name the horse. Either say it at the very beginning, or don't ever say it. Thank you, Shadowhand. I'll look good on that horse. I look good on that horse. I've come to take you to gal, Persimmon Flesh. The name's Peregrine, and that's outrageous. Who are you, a common criminal, to send a gentleman like me to gal? You don't recognize me, Perry? Your very own ward? My father trusted you to care for me and for his estate. You betrayed us. Yep. Kind of ridiculous to have only 2 versions of her and be back in the dress. Because, like, logically, what she just did is she ran off into the bushes, took off all of her clothes, and put on a dress, which in those days it probably would have taken hours to put on a dress like this. And I'm not going to complain about that too much, but it is kind of ridiculous that you couldn't just have removed the mask and the helmet and everything from her so that she could show her face while still wearing the rest of the Shadowhand items. And you could have probably done that in every scenario that you used this image. Lady Cornelia, you're a disgrace. You're a wanted criminal. You have blackened the name of Darkmoor forever. Not at all, Persimmon. I think you'll find that Lady Cornelia Darkmoor's behavior is beyond reproach. I can't imagine that we will hear from that villain Shadowhand again. Now off to gal with you. I have a birthday celebration to arrange. Captain, would you mind escorting him? So, Captain Dread is just gonna walk this guy to the prison? Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. Aye, aye, my lady, there's nothing that would give me more pleasure. Oh, and if you need to drop a drop of brandy for those birthday celebrations, you know where to find me. And that's just kind of where it ends. So, I get the achievement for beating it on normal and relaxed, but I haven't gotten the achievement for very hard. And so here we have full screen versions of, I guess, the remaining good guys. And just a very abrupt ending here as far as how it goes. You've helped Cornelia. Congratulations, you've helped Lady Cornelia become the legendary highwaywoman Shadowhand. She had rooted out corruption. Her friend and fortune are safe, and she is ready to become Mistress of Darkmoor Hall. Your role in this legend will be told to by the ostler at the Whistling Willow in many a yarn by the fireside. That's an odd callback as far as the ostler at Whistling Willow not really being a main character. From there it will spread, perhaps with a few embellishments, across the Vale of Avalon, another callback for no reason, along many hazardous turnpike roads, and even may be carried over the water by smugglers and sea tars into the world beyond. We would like to personally thank you for buying Shadowhand, which we made together as a husband and wife team. Green Alien Games is our full-time family business, so thank you for supporting our family by purchasing this game and for helping to make the next game possible. We hope you enjoyed your visit to the lawless 1770s England. Please tell your friends about the game and also look for other games. Our other games, Regency Solitaire, Spooky Bonus, Holiday Bonus, and Spring Bonus. I don't think any of the bonus games are probably worth playing. Honestly, I have to say, like, as much as I want to be nice, because it seems like Jake Burkett and Helen Carmichael are very nice people, and I think they're probably trying their very best. I guess Regency Solitaire probably didn't make quite enough money for them to hire another writer, or since it's kind of a family business, maybe they didn't want to do that. But it just doesn't feel like there was enough story here, and that this was enough of a step forward with a game like this, as it is depicted. It doesn't make me feel like there's a real reason to play another Grey Alien games, whether it was a solitaire game or whether it was completely different. If you were to say Shadowhand 2 is coming out and it's not even going to be a solitaire game, it's just going to be an actual just like turn-based RPG game, which would be in my mind the next step forward, I still would not be particularly happy with it. You would also have to undo this happy ending for what little was actually written here. We can see that there is a decent amount of kind of third-party testers and third-party assistants, but even though this credits might be a little bit longer than what I would expect for what is effectively a game made by two people, it seems very much like it was just made by two people. What I think you could have easily done here is steal for the story a lot more. It wouldn't have been too hard to, instead of stealing just general themes, to outright steal some of the old romance story old romance story books that are out there. So like I want to say like the Scarlet Pimpernel or Lady Chatterley, things like that I actually can't even name and maybe making terrible references to. We know that there's a bunch of old romance books that you could have stolen entire lines of dialogue from, you could have stolen entire events from. There are kind of some obvious scenes that weren't put into this game that could have been put into this game. The Romeo and Juliet calling out in the balcony, misunderstandings in general that are often in Shakespearean plays, a cart chase. I think there may have been a horse chase that happened very early in the story, but there could have been more of that, and definitely better sound effects and more animation to make that memorable. Or And I say that with a big or. Could have just made the solitaire game better. That's the worst part about this, is it is just a mushy middle game where the solitaire, as it's designed, as it plays, is not something I enjoyed, and the story is so weak and so obvious that it's not something that I enjoyed either. I would have definitely liked to see a surprise ending that was a little bit more complicated, where Mariah is revealed to actually be the half sister of Lady Chatterley, and that is the way that Darkmoor Estate gets saved, in more of a kind of court case type reveal, instead of just saying off the gal with the magistrate. I would have liked to see Lady Chatterley forced and blackmailed into marrying Peregrine, or being engaged to Peregrine at least. I would have liked to see the gypsy character explained better and used better. I would have liked to see the male interest, love interest character explained better and used a lot better. The generic enemies that we're fighting over and over again could have been reduced by half, and then had more of those generic characters return on a second attempt. So if we look here, like, this guy never really shows up again. This guy's a main character. This soldier is the soldier I think you kill. This guy is a main character. This guy is kind of a joke character, so it's not surprising he didn't return. But then this guy never comes back. For some reason, this executioner is supposed to be your main villain when it clearly should have been the magistrate. This guy never shows up again, and he's a joke character, so him showing up would make a lot more sense. This guy should have married you at the end of the story. This guy never shows up again. She shows up in chapter 11 after being robbed at the masquerade of chapter 5, and then I don't know if she ever shows up again. Mariah plays far too little of a role in the story. She could have easily been removed from the entirety of the story. She is just a motivating factor to have Shadowhand continue to look for her until she no longer is. This character plays no role. This character really plays no role. This character really plays no role. This character plays no role. This character plays no role. This character plays no role. These are the taxmen, the excisemen. They come back. Yeah. What we can see here is we did not accomplish, we did not unlock anything new, so there is no more gameplay. There is no new gameplay mode. So now I'm just at this point where off screen, I would potentially just want to use try and beat it on very hard mode, which is going to be very grindy. We have a massive amount of items, which just goes to show how a lot of these items are just kind of useless. Particularly the clean handkerchief is a totally useless item because you don't see anybody with soap that often, and even when you do see people with soap, you don't earn soap as an item very often. We didn't unlock anything new. Surprisingly, we didn't even level up. So there's literally nothing that you can buy other than this 19 French pistol, which is a charge of 5, versus this, which has a charge of 6. Base damage of 19, 30% chance to pierce, versus base damage 25% to... So yeah, you can buy that. Then you have to find it. Let's see. Just a little too many weapons in general. Yeah. And we can go and just see how many of these items we could have bought at the final year. Yeah. So going through the level one more time on either normal or very hard will probably give me enough gold to have all the weapons, but there's no achievement around having all the weapons. As far as making the character look like Shadowhand, I just don't think we ever were given bracers that looked like what it looked like in the main game, for whatever that's worth. These are probably the closest ones, and I think there's a purple blouse that she wears in the main game, which I don't think that's an option too. Yeah, pants in particular, there's only 3 pairs of pants, only 3 pairs of shoes, whereas several of the other things seem to give you a few more varieties, but maybe not that much of a difference. Yeah. Let's just start with that and that. Interesting that it reset me back that way. Yeah. You never get a purple shirt like this. You never get bracers that look quite like this. There is a purple mask, there is a purple hat. Her hair never looks like this. You never get a purple bustier like this. It would make a lot of sense that at the end of the game you would have all of these pieces of equipment, and these would be the ultimate pieces of equipment. Option wise, yeah, there's kind of no options, and there's nothing new or anything else to do. So yeah, I am definitely disappointed in this game as a solitaire game. That's a little weird to say, certainly. It did accomplish being a solitaire game, but barely at that. And inherently, solitaire games like this really don't fit the desire if you really want to play solitaire, because they have all these special cheat elements to them. You're not playing something like Klondike or Spider Solitaire or For Free or Free Cell or Pyramid or Golf or any of the thousands of other known solitaire games that you would see mostly on a cell phone game at this point. And since now that cell phone games look better and are more prominent in 2021 compared to, say, 1990, when cell phones didn't even exist, there is just this big question about, would a solitaire game, any solitaire game, be justified as being a PC game on Steam? And I'm not sure there really is enough of a justification. Like, even people that at least one person I know that plays solitaire like crazy has long since moved to just playing it on their cell phone and not playing it on PC. So yeah, and they are just playing Free Cell. They are not playing something like Shadowhand. So you then have to kind of separate it and say, well, it's not really a solitaire game. It's just a game that uses solitaire as its gameplay mechanic. And even at that, I don't think it's that polished or that good. I think Regency Solitaire was a little bit better, but I also vaguely recall that Regency Solitaire was fairly frustrating too. There's probably too many chapters. Like, honestly, this might be a better game if it was half as long and half the price. As much as I don't want to encourage people flooding Steam with shorter games and low effort games, I think you probably could have had a Shadowhand 1 and then had a Shadowhand 2 come out the next year and then make it a fairly short game. I don't think, let's see. It seems like with leaving this game on and paused, I have like a playtime of 77 hours. More than likely, I've been playing this game for somewhere around 25 hours in actuality. Because yeah, if every episode was at least an hour and a half, and there are 22 episodes, you are talking 25 hours minimum. Yeah, you could have easily brought this down to a 10-hour game. Reduce the number of sub-chapters, break out the sub-chapters so that there is simply 100 chapters. Each chapter is one duel. Each duel has like one goal, and that's it. Yeah, that would be much more in line with what you would expect to see in a cell phone solitaire game. Yeah. I'm just left a little unhappy with this. Not terribly unhappy. This is hardly a rage quit. But I can't really recommend Shadowhand as it is, even if you really love solitaire. Excuse me. With that, that's going to be the end of this series. Sorry, I had to take a drink of water as I'm coughing. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos because that helps me with YouTube and engagement and all that nonsense. If you want a friend or follow me, there's a bunch of social media links that'll help you get notifications. There is also on my YouTube page a playlist tab that has a playlist for every game I've ever covered, so you can go check out my coverage of Regency Solitaire. And if you want to support me even further, you can friend me on Steam and give me a gift card or a game that helps me cover more games, or you can support me through Patreon. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.